horror start, but then the character of the team was brilliant. Stay so calm, stay so composed, get back in the game, stick to the belief, stick to the plan, especially. And then you see we played some very good football, scored 3 good goals. So a brilliant comeback.
I'm not going to over-egg a defeat too much, because that's not in my nature, and that's not what the mentality I want from anybody at the club. But at the same time, you have to look a bit deeper than the result. And there were some positive things. And the reality is, it's still another loss away from home. But at times, a lot of the performances matched the results last year away from home. I don't think that's quite been the case so far. But it's still a loss, and we got to continue to try and turn it around if we can.
I think even with 10 men, you can say we're still playing, we're still fighting, we're still going. Maybe a bit of luck, maybe it should have been 3-3, but that's the kind of team we want to be. Even in defeat, we just have to be ready, and we just have to keep going.
I know that what this team is capable to do. We know inside of the dressing room that we are capable to do great things, and we know that we have to be more consistent on that. We are aware of that, but it was never in doubt, this team.
Well, Forest had a go, but that's 31 games now and beaten at Old Trafford in all competitions. Off to a poor start. How did they turn it around?
Well, there was obviously resilience and character, but the main reason for me was the 2 wide men. You had Anthony playing with a point to prove, and you have Rashford on the left, who was playing back in his favourite position and looked much more comfortable, and they looked more balanced. They were 2-0 down, and at this stage, the fans were getting edgy. They needed someone to produce a little bit of magic. We know he gives them balance on that left side, Rashford, and end product. We've seen it time and time again last season. He looked more comfortable. Anthony running in behind, making different types of runs today. There's been a lot of discontent with him in the first couple of games. End product, picking passes better, much more decisive in his play. Not a position you expect to find Rashford in. He's become the creator in this one. It's a super little pass to Fernandes, who's got a nice job of just putting it on a plate for Casemiro, and that gets United back level. And then Anthony grew into the game second half. You know, there's been a lot of talk of him being predictable, this type of run, and defences should be able to cover that. But he still, even though you know he's going to do it, he's still got that capability. But this is the one I really like. Needs to do a bit of work on going the other way and making it more difficult for defences. So with this one, pops it off and he runs in behind. But when he gets in one-on-one, he decides, you know, I'll go on my right foot. I'll show you I can put in a good ball. And it's a poor miss from Fernandes. So I really like that from Anthony, mixing up his play, varying his play. Rashford again, one-on-one, very hard to cope with, gets the penalty that ultimately becomes the winner. So, yeah, I thought it looked better in the wider areas after they went 2-0 down. So that's one thing United fans can walk away happy with.
Yeah, talking of that penalty, the reports tonight that Nottingham Forest are considering whether to make an official complaint to the PGMOL about the officials in that game. Stuart Atwell, the referee. Shall we have a look at a couple of the decisions that have probably irked them?
Yeah, I think that they're questionable, but I think that the point on both of them that we're going to see now is I don't think they're going to be overturned. He's had a little tug at him. I think the question is, will Bowley get back in? Yeah. We're not sure. And it ends up being a red card for Worrell. I just don't think that one gets overturned. Yeah. And Rashford in his favourite position, like the Eriksen goal. When I first saw it, I thought, no, it gets at Danilo and it doesn't look like there's much contact. But here we can see that the quad knee area just brushes Marcus Rashford.
Marcus looks like he might have helped.
I think he's been very clever with it, but I think there's probably just enough contact where they're not going to overturn that.
Yeah, the same sort of thing. Whichever way the ref went on the pitch with both those decisions, they'd have probably VAR would not have changed them around. That's 6 points from 3 games for United now, but there's still a bit of fragility there, isn't there?
A little bit more than fragility, I think. There's some worrying signs and something they need to work on. I mean, first one is concentration, which all this is, and setup. Call it discipline, whatever you want. But Wan-Bissaka, it's United's corner. He doesn't win the header. Shouldn't be losing the header to Gibbs-White. Then, off the corner, you've got Rashford, who's your top goal scorer and one of your main men in the creative end area of the pitch, next to Anthony and Eriksen, left as your last line. I don't understand why a defensive player isn't there. It's poor setup and they find themselves one down. This is more worrying. You've got Wan-Bissaka with his back. You can see the number there, 29, with his back to the ball. Why is he turning the wrong way? Then you've got Casemiro who doesn't jump. Granted, it's a little bit lucky the way it comes off Bolly's head, and then the top of the screen, Dallo had let his man get in behind him. So they're 2-0 down, climbing a mountain. I get it. You have to chase the game, and you have to be proactive, but you still have to do your defending and be disciplined. This is what worries me. Look, he's run past Martinez, he's ran past Casemiro. The reactions of both is really poor, and a bit more calmness in this area here could be a little tap-in for Iwanyi at the back post. They get away with that one. That one's at 2-1.
Should have hit it first time.
Yeah, again here, look, Eriksson in the defensive position. He doesn't do anything to beat him, Johnson, here. It's just too easy. He's in behind. Can he pick a pass out? Look, Gibbs-White, oceans of space. Casemiro doesn't see him. Wan-Bissaka doesn't see him. Rashford doesn't see him. Awareness, spot the danger. You could be 3-1 down at half-time to Forest at home. The only reason they're not is because it's his own man on the way through. Against 10 men late in the game, they're now winning the game. Be disciplined. Casemiro coming across, diving in. Martinez gets down there on the run. It's only his keeper that saves him. If Wood had another foot, well, another size to his shoe, they'd get an equaliser.
Big feet.
So although there was some positives to take, they're too easy to play against still, and some of it is so easy to fix.
OK, before we move on, a bit of news. After the game, Manchester United fans gathered at Old Trafford to protest the Glazer family's ownership of the club. The 1958 supporters group organised the hour-long sit-in and have led calls for the Americans to sell the club, which they have owned for the past 18 years. Roughly 7,000 fans were thought to have been in attendance.